Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters. Welcome to Freshly Grounded, episode 169 with Muslim Belal. A very, very exciting episode, inshallah. Again, this is one of the kind of the somewhat daily episodes that we're trying to release, and we'll have an announcement with kind of what our plans are for Ramadan. Before we go into the episode, just want to say that, guys, we're still fundraising for people who are impacted by the coronavirus to the extent where they're vulnerable people who can't leave their homes, or they're unable to because they themselves are ill, or they're elderly, and therefore what Human Appeal is doing is they're providing food and emergency packs to these vulnerable people in the UK, and to provide that food pack is only £15. On top of that, in 5 other countries like Pakistan, Palestine, Iraq, Yemen and Somalia, they're providing emergency packs to people who can't access basic sanitization and basic necessities, and that's £70. So if you can even contribute £2, I believe, which is the minimum on Just Giving, please do so by going to justgiving.com/freshly grounded COVID-19, and you can also see the link for that in the bio, inshallah. Without any further ado, let's get into episode 169 of Freshly Grounded with our very good friend Muslim Belal, aka Ashley Chin.
And welcome to Freshly Grounded, the brand new podcast by best friends Faisal and Sam.
Huh?
I said welcome to Freshly Grounded,
After that bit.
the brand new podcast
And after that bit?
by best friends Faisal and Sam.
Really?
I remember a few times in the past I've heard you speak about the days that you was in Egypt as like the glory days, like the days when you was just like, I remember you telling me, I asked you one time, I said, how long was you there for? And you were like, until my money ran out. And you were just there, and you were in isolation basically. You just went there by yourself, packed a suitcase, and you was there making do, and you just learning the language, learning the religion, and like I said, you speak about those days so highly. So have you been able to bring any of that feeling back while you've been in isolation these few weeks?
Do you know what? I was having a conversation with one of the brothers who later went to Egypt after me just the other day while in isolation, and we was talking about how it's bringing back a similar feeling, and that we want to go back to that place, and that because I don't know, little things like my daughter, I haven't seen her face to face for like 4 weeks now.
Oh, really?
So I go on Zoom and I do like an Arabic class with her, and when I'm on Zoom with her, it's like she sits down at her desk and with her younger brother Ayub, and it's like they're sitting there in front of me, and I'm doing like Arabic exactly how I learned it in Egypt. So I'm saying like هذا كلام, like هذا مكتب, هذا كتاب, هذا كلام, لا هذا كتاب, like, and they're doing it, repeating after me, and I'm just thinking, this is mad. This is exactly how I used to learn the first lessons when I was in Egypt. And it just reminds, it's all of these kind of things that we didn't have time to do, and we was just rushing around, chasing the world. It's like now I find that we're settling down, and we're having time to sit and do that for an hour, not rushed. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's bringing me back to those days. And I was talking to a brother on the phone, and we was talking about Egypt. And in the evening, I do this class where a sheikh does a lesson, and all of us just in there listening to the lecture and stuff and taking notes. It just brings me back to those days, because I'll be honest, I haven't been doing these kind of things. It's like I've been so busy, lost, chasing the world, running fast. We're so busy, like, and sometimes you think you're doing good. Like, I've got to go to this event, it's a charity event, it's good. I've got to go to this place, it's for a good cause, I've got to go there. But sometimes you really just need to slow down and just think about not just what you're doing, why you're doing it, because you forget the why. Like, you're doing so much, you forget why you're even doing it in the first place. We're so busy, it's just like, hold on, why? And this time has allowed that breather to say, wait there, what am I doing with my time, and why am I doing these things, and what do I need to be doing? So, and this was the beauty of Egypt. Like, there was nothing to worry about. We didn't have letters coming through the door with bills. We didn't have to worry about paying for this and paying for that. So working, literally, I was paying like $1 an hour for my classes, and that's all we had to worry about. Like, what time's the teacher coming today? Pay $1 an hour, and then in the evening, get the local imam comes. He used to come and do Qur'an with us, tajweed in the evening. It was just like, that's all we had to worry about. And our biggest issue was, are we going to eat local, the kushari, or are we going to go big today and get a Hardee's and oh, you man done a Hardee's, like we're spending big, like, brothers, slow down. That's how it was, like, or I might like sneak off and say, I'm getting a McDonald's today, like, you know, hit Sarag Ball, get a McDonald's. Or can we go to the juice bar after class and everyone's getting sugarcane juice smoothies and this. These was our biggest issue. This was our biggest issues. Like, we didn't have nothing to worry about worldly so much. It wasn't about, we're walking around with slippers on that was worth £2. They had like the O2 sign on them. But now you wouldn't wear that. It's like, what's this, O2? You want to wear something that says Givenchy or that says Fendi or something. Then we're wearing O2 slippers that we buy from a local shop called Togetherness, and we're wearing the phobe that we buy outside the Masjid. The man sits on the floor selling phobes like for 20 Janae, 50 Janae, 60 Janae, and we're wearing them phobes. So our outfit's worth not even £8. And we're walking around with the sunglasses acting cool. But our focus was on the things that matter. And we wasn't distracted by the things that didn't matter. Like the things of this worldly life. And we wasn't being judged on our clothes. We're catching the bus. Like, get on the buses used to drive past. Ramsiers. And they'll be like, right, that's my bus. Jump on that. Get on. Give him one Janae. Sit on the bus. Get off. In London, I remember a time in my life where I used to say, I don't get on the bus. Like, I'm too like cool for that. Who gets on the bus? Like, I don't get public transport. I went from 15 on a moped to motorbike to cars, and you just think I'm too good to go on the bus. Like, I'm too good for London transport, and you have this ego, and I'm too good to wear no-name clothes. I have to have the best trainers and the best this and the best everything, and it's like, where did we get this ego from? Like, who made us so special? Like, why do we think we're so special, like, that we can't do these things? And the beauty of Egypt, it humbled us and let us just think about the things that mattered. As young boys coming from the streets, coming from crazy lifestyles, it made us just focus on what really mattered, unity between us, friendship, and I feel like, and love between each other, and just doing simple things like learning. And I feel like this isolation, quarantine, has brought us back to that, in a sense where I'm not getting dressed up every day. Like, my trainers, I got so much, I haven't worn them. I've been in slippers every day, like, or socks, sliding around the house. I put on tracksuits every day, hoodie and jogging bottoms, t-shirts and shorts. I haven't worn my watch for like 4 weeks. Like, these things are collecting dust now. My car hasn't been driven in 4 weeks. It's out there just collecting dust. Like, the things that, and then I start thinking, what did we really need all this stuff for anyway? And I really, really think to myself, when this is over, do we just say, all right, that's finished now, let's just go back to being busy doing rubbish? Or do we just say, you know what, I took something from that. We turned that hardship into a lesson, and I can take something from that lesson and say, you know what, when this is over, I'm not going back to the busy chasing, because most of the things I was chasing and spending my money on, I realised I didn't even need. What do we really need? Like, now, I'm cooking every day. My cooker hasn't been switched on so much I think I switched on my cooker more times in the last 3 weeks than I have in the last 3 years. And it's like, all that money we're spending on like takeaways and restaurants and eating out. And yeah, I definitely got something beneficial from this time, 100%.
Do you feel like you're going to change how you behave or how you react to situations now after this blows over, inshallah?
I feel like I don't ever want to be that busy again. I don't ever want to be that busy. Like, I got to a stage where I was just doing too much. I was doing too much, burning myself out. And I think it's very easy to like just lose sight of the goal. And like, we're so busy and so caught up. I was going to like, if I'm not going to Manchester, to Birmingham, to Bradford, and to here, to there, then I'm flying to Australia, to South Africa. It's like I'm just burning myself out. I remember, I think it was February. I remember saying, I went from Milan, Paris, Dubai. I was just traveling non-stop. And I remember saying, I need a month off. I need a month of just doing nothing. I'm worn out. And then it's like, literally a few weeks later, they just started announcing how it's from what was happening in China is now spreading across the world, and stay indoors, stay home, stay safe. And I was like, look at that. And now we've been locked down for nearly a month. So it's like I got my prayers basically were answered. So I definitely don't want to go back to being busy. You know, like when you think about it, little things like there's in the Qur'an where it says like the mutual rivalry of piling up wealth is what diverts you from the more serious things until you reach the grave. Then you should know. Like these things now you can ponder on it and say, wow, man really was just in some rivalry of just piling up wealth. And even sometimes I feel like we get distracted, even like we're so business minded. Like, need this company, that company, this business, and it's like sometimes we focus on it so much that we just lose sight of the goal. And really, when these things happen, like we're locked inside, a lot of people are losing their mind and what am I gonna do, and my business, and this is not working and that's not working, and a lot of people are stressed out and depressed. I remember saying the other day, you see, if we worked more on the inside and we focus more on the inside of us, like our hearts, our soul, like our spirit, then no matter what happens, whether we're in isolation, locked down, even if we're told to stay inside, then we're still going to be at peace when we're inside, because we found our inner peace from the inside. It wasn't from everything out there. It wasn't from the materials. It wasn't from the worldly gains. It wasn't from the business. It wasn't from that. Our peace and our happiness is from within. So no matter where we are, what we're going through, we still can maintain that same peace and happiness. So that's like, made me think to myself, do you know what? That's what I need to work on. Like, go back to the essence, the roots, where like in Egypt, where it was just all about that inner peace inside. Definitely.
It's funny because when you was mentioning like when you was in Egypt doing your Qur'an classes and stuff, it reminded me of something that probably one of the things that you have no knowledge of, and that's that when I first met like yourself, Abu Bakr, etc. I met all of you brothers about 6 years ago now. Wow, that went fast. I met you brothers about 6 years ago, and I was very new to practicing. I think I was probably 20 years old, and so I hadn't back then I hadn't started learning how to read the Qur'an or anything. So I couldn't read the Qur'an. I couldn't speak or understand any Arabic, and I was starting fresh. And I remember we went somewhere, and you was leading Salah. I think someone just said like we had to do a Jama'at, and then someone said like, Belal, you lead, and you led and you recited a surah, and I hadn't heard the surah, which is embarrassing to say because I was like 19, 20 years old, and it's in Juz Amma, and it's like one of the early ones, but it was Surah Teen, right? And you recited Surah Teen, and I remember that's the day that I fell in love with that surah, and I'll tell you why. Because you recited it, and it's like I had heard because you know when you just start practicing, like all you've got to do, all you do really is listen to the Quran, because you're not ready to. The lectures are too hardcore, like you can't understand them, and then on top of that, you don't want to. You're trying to stay good, and so but you can't read Quran, you can't do nothing. So all you do is listen to Quran all the time, at early stages. And so I could tell that when you was reciting, that the tajweed was like how I heard. Like I knew that you was pronouncing all of the letters correct, but it sounded like nothing I had ever heard, right? Because of because of the way you was reciting, yeah. And then do you know when it hit me? It hit me that I fell in love with that surah. reminded me back of that feeling when about a year ago I heard. Have you ever heard the Sudanese recitation act? Like from the there's this famous Sudanese sheikh. Yeah. Anyway, and then I was like, raw. Belal was reciting like the Sudanese like recitation, and because I heard this Sudanese recitation of this sheikh, yeah, and I just fell in love with what he was reciting. I'm gonna try and play it, see if I play it, and then that's when I started realizing that there's different ways that people recite the Qur'an, and it's all still correct and stuff. And I was like, And then you started telling me about your journey and stuff. I'm trying to find it now. The only way I can find it is if I put it on the telly. I'm gonna try to go to YouTube, but you definitely have heard it because I feel like you got your inspiration from. I don't know if your teacher was Sudanese or something, but
nah. Do you know what? You see the Qur'an, yeah. Alhamdulillah, boy, Allahu Akbar, because man was a man that car journeys, wake up in the morning, everything like just put on the music. Put on the music. That was my vibe. That's my energy. That's in us. We're from the West. And like, when it was like, when I first converted to Islam, it's just like, it's like the whole deen was based on music. That's all everyone was saying. All the youngsters like, oh, music, you're not allowed. Music. It's like they use music as a thing to say, if you listen to it, you're not on deen. If you don't listen to it, you are on deen. It's like, that was our thing. Music. We were young, innit? So it was like, I'm not allowed to listen to this music, it's jarring. And one brother, I remember this brother, Mustafa, he must have said to me, you got to listen to this Quran, this recitation. And I'm saying, what is it? And he goes, listen to this Quran. It's the man reciting the Quran like the prayers. My first cassette tape. And he's put it in. And the way he's going, listen to this. Woo! And he's making all these like, oi. And I'm listening to him and I'm saying, this is the medicine. And then I'm like, I need this tape. And we're fighting over this tape like how we used to fight over like cassette tapes of music and stuff. And it's like, so I remember took this tape now. And it was Masjid Rashid Al-Fasi, Juz Amma. And I used to listen to it all the time, over and over and over again. And this is from 2002. So I'm listening to this.
Hey guys, Faisal here. So apologies for the abrupt stop there, but unfortunately because of the technicals involved in doing these episodes right now in isolation, there's a lot of things involved like batteries and data and storage, and unfortunately we lost just about a minute here while there's a bit of a technical issue. So we're going to crack straight back on to the episode, and it's going to carry on from Muslim Belal basically explaining him then going to Egypt and then falling in love with another recitation out there by a sheikh out there. So he just lost like a minute here where he was explaining hearing Mishari for the first time and really enjoying it and listening to Mishari's Qur'an regularly, or his recitation of the Qur'an regularly, and we'll carry on straight after that bit now.
So I remember when we was in Egypt, we used to there was Sheikh Rida in the Masjid. We used to go there because of the way he recites Quran. We used to love it, and we'd want the prayer to last longer because it was such like a soothing, nice sound, like the tajweed, everything. So I just fell in love with it, bro. Like I loved it, and I just wanted to learn. Like the Arabic classes, I remember I never found them as fun, but it was a necessity. But the Quran classes, I was just like I was looking forward to them. And what's crazy is 10 years later, I went to Kuwait to study. And I remember I was on a TV show in Kuwait, and they're asking me what made me come here and and I said, to be fair, like I found myself like just losing direction, and like I just wanted to like get back to like the basics and come and just isolate myself. So I done like a quarantine in Kuwait for like 6 months straight. I only left my house to go to this class, and then they were interviewing me, and they were saying, wow, this guy's from the UK, you do like in the film industry, you're doing this, you're doing that, but you've decided to come here just to learn Quran. Like, and they were like quite shocked about that. They didn't get it. And then they said, yeah, can you tell us some of the they said, can you tell us some of the reciters that you love the most? And I said, Masjid Rashid Al-Afasi. I told them the story about when I was young and I first heard him. And they said, you know he's Kuwaiti, right? You know he's based here. So I said, I didn't know that. And they said, yeah, he's based here and da-da-da-da. Maybe you'll hear him when you go to the masjid, like the Grand Mosque. So I was like, huh? So I remember going, I said, I need to go to this masjid. So I've gone in there a few days later and it was Taraweh. And I was thinking, I wonder if it's going to be a, you know, when you just say that stole, I was just like, nah, bro, I'm not even going to lie. You see hearing the, like, once he started, I just felt it like, this is the guy that I used to listen to from 2002, and it just brought it back for me. I was just like, oh my days. But I didn't like go to meet him. I just enjoyed my Taraweh, went home, but I was just like, wow. Then the next day, someone said, Masjid Rashid just put you on his Facebook. And I was like, huh? And he listened to the TV interview and he put it on his Facebook saying a guy came from London to learn Qur'an and he was inspired by listening to Masjid Rashid as a youngster, and he put a poster by it on his Facebook.
No
so
way.
I said, wow. Then my phone rang. And brother said, hey, the Sheikh, Masjid Rashid wants to meet you. He's asking, can anyone get hold of you while you're here? So I said, yeah. And I went and met him.
No way.
Yeah, I went and met him and we was chilling. He invited me to his place and we're eating food on the floor. And then, like, he showed me his studio where he makes nasheeds. I'm saying, listen, I don't even want to hear the nasheeds. I want to hear that Qur'an. Like, that's what my heart's at. So it's a beautiful experience, bro. Yeah, it was a nice experience. Wow. But, yeah, I've always had that little thing. But sometimes you lose it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you lose it. This is the reality. And I remember, like, reciting surahs in the Qur'an in prayer and forgetting, like, surahs that I know so well, and like mixing up one surah with another surah, like innal ladhina amanu, and then I'm going into something else and I'm thinking, like, subhanallah, 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 and just like Allahu Akbar, going into raku and just thinking, rah, like, and this is what the dunya does. When you're too busy and you're out there and you're chasing this and you're chasing that, it's like you'll lose these ayahs, like you forget things. And these times, like now, when you're in isolation, it brings it back down to earth. Like, I need to get back into that. Now we got the time. Before we had the excuse, like we ain't got time. And this is just the reality, innit? I just speak how it is from the heart. It's a time now where I can appreciate this time. I don't even look at any of the hardship. I just look at the benefits from this and say, boy, Allah, you ask for time. Allah's giving you time, like, to go back and rebuild. Like, so this is the time to rebuild. Like, I can go back through those surahs and rememorize them and understand and start reading. We got Ramadan coming. It's like everyone, I'm gonna miss Taraweh, or what about this and the iftars, and then sometimes it's like so busy again in just enjoying the month and meeting up with people and eating and spending time. Man. You lose that, like, now you got time to just sit down, just read the Qur'an, just sit. It's like when I done itikaf. Bro, the first time I done itikaf, it was mad. I was knee deep in the studio. We had our group SMS, and I remember people knew we were Muslim. We were known in South London, and everyone used to like speak bad, like, music's haram. Why are you not doing that? You not got your studio guy, like, you know, like so much bad to say. But we're just young boys coming, like we just took our shahada not long, and it's like we were very ignorant. Like no one can't really tell us. We know it. We know what's right and wrong, but don't tell us to stop. That was the attitude. Don't tell me to stop. Like, I'll stop when I'm ready to stop. This is my... And it's like everyone just wanted to come and like throw this at man, throw it at man. And then I was rejecting the dawah. I was rejecting it. Like, it's just bouncing off me. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And this is what I have to understand. Like, you can't just tell people, do this, don't do that, don't do this. Like, some of us, it's in our nature to just like, you make us not want to hear it. And then the imam in the masjid, what I loved about him, in our local masjid, South London Islamic Centre, he knew I was a rapper. He knew what we was about. He knew how he was. But every time I went in there, he'd be like, brother Muslim Belal, how are you today? Have you eaten? Come in the office. And he made me feel so welcome. And sometimes you used to think you didn't want to go because you felt like people were looking down on you. But he gave me this welcoming, like this warm comfort. And he said, what are you doing after Salah? I'm thinking, I got to go and do this, I got to do that. He's like, come and sit. We're doing a little talk after. It'll be nice. It'll be nice to have you. So I was like, all right. And his sons used to like be like, yeah. Muslim Belal. He's like, my sons love you. And when the dad's not looking, they was always like, do a rap. And I'll be like, shh, I'm not doing no rap, man. Recite Qur'an. I want to hear some Qur'an. If you do something, I say, they go, all right, if we do Qur'an, you do a rap after. I'll be like, all right, deal. You go first. But like, I remember staying, and after the talk, they started saying, right, who's going to go for 40 days? Who's going to go for 60 days? And people putting up their hands. I was saying, what's going on here? Like, I'm trying to make an escape, but they're like, they've got this notepad and they're like, brother, how long are you going to come for? I was like, I don't know. I can't really go anywhere for 40 days. Like, I got my, they're like, don't worry about your job. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about that. So they're like, tabligh, Jamaat, like they go out. Okay. So I was thinking, nah, I didn't know what these things was. So I was like, nah, I need to, like, I can't. And then the Imam said, Muslim Belal, why don't you do 10 days? So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do 10 days. But I still didn't know what I was committing to. I was like, all right, yeah, I'll do 10 days. I felt a bit under pressure, I'll be honest. And then he told me, he come up to me after and he said, you see your 10 days, you can do it at the end of Ramadan. Like, come to the mosque, spend your last 10 days in the mosque. It's called itikaf. So I said, okay, yeah, I can do that. Like Ramadan, I want to, yeah, I'll do that. So he says, so come here from Maghrib and the last 10 days you spend here in the mosque. I said, all right, I'll do that. So I remember I went there on the Maghrib for the lot, and I just came just like as I am. And he said, where's your like bag, your sleeping bags, your stuff? And I was like, I didn't bring anything, but I'll just leave and go shop every day. And he said, no, you can't. This is itikaf. You got to stay in the masjid. You can't leave. I said, what? I can't even leave to go to the shop or anything. He said, no. So I said, wow. So I've contacted my mum. I said, Mum, you need to bring quilts, food, snacks, everything to the mosque. I'm not allowed to leave for the next 10 days. So she said, okay, she comes. So I got my stuff. But those 10 days when I stayed in the mosque, I remember it's like, it's real isolation. Yeah. It's like, there's nothing going on. Like, there was like 10 of us, and a lot of them were elderly men. I was like, a lot of them was mainly like from Pakistan, and there was one old Somali man there. And even like when I tried to talk to like in the day to like one brother's son who came, they'll be like, no speaking, it's itikaf, no speaking, read Qur'an or pray. So I was like, right, this is hard. But reading, didn't want to talk in case they saw me, didn't want to like do anything, didn't want to check my phone. But those 10 days was so beneficial for me that when you come out of that isolation, and I remember I got picked up, and when I got picked up, they're driving me home, and they've got the music on the radio. It just sounded too loud. It was like too much gas. I was like, I turn that down, turn that off. It's like my heart was just rejecting it. It's like it was too much for me. It sounded too foul. And it's like, do you know where I've just been? I've just been in the mosque for 10 days in peace. And now I'm hearing all of this. It's not sitting well in my heart. And it's like, that was the stage. I remember my brothers in SMS was like, you seem different. Like, you're not gonna come back on this music, are you? And I was just like, bro, I don't know if I can. Like, I just don't feel the same about it. Like, we had a performance coming up, and it's like I couldn't see myself. Like it just didn't feel right. So they was like, no, we hear you, man. Respect, and they got the same love for the Deen as well. So they had a lot of respect, and it was cool. But it's like that natural, organic feeling. What I got from doing the itikaf was more powerful than anyone that was for months trying to tell me, stop this, stop that, stop this. It's got to come from within. Like, it's got to be within, and that's when it can last and stay, because it's not just through force or through someone telling you, or you feeling the fear or the judgment from the people around you. It's got to be from within. It's got to be real. Everything we do has to be real and come from within. So yeah, that was that's what that itikaf, that isolation done for me then. And I'm just trying to reflect now in this situation, this pandemic, epidemic that the whole world is going through. Like, how can we take advantage of this? You know, like in the Hadith, Muhammad Sallallahu said, take advantage of 5 before 5. And it's like your health before you become sick, your youth before you become old, your life before it passes and you die, your wealth before you become poor, and your free time before you become busy. This is our free time now. How are we gonna take advantage of that free time?
Wow.
Like, how are we gonna take, like, how, before we become busy again? And this is exactly what we need to do now. Take advantage of this free time. So I'm trying to, like, I need to rebuild, man. This is destroying rebuild time, definitely.
It's interesting you talk about your first itikaf, because I feel like the first itikaf, we mentioned it before on an episode, it's always the itikaf that changes your life. And I remember for me, likewise, there was a brother there who, his name was Belal, and he has 2 or 3 brothers, and they was all doing itikaf together. He was a lot older than me. He was like maybe 10 years older than me. And only after, because I hadn't met you guys yet, but only about a year after, I realized that he was, once I had met Abu Bakr Islam, I realized that he also was like with doing some videos for Roadside to Islam with you brothers.
Okay.
But I don't know if you would remember, his name was Belal, and he had like 2 or 3 brothers. They're around, like, they're from your area, around your age. But if you look at like the really, really old Roadside to Islam videos, like the first few, he was there like giving da'wah and stuff, and that was impactful because he would sit with me, like we would read Salah, and he would always be front row, and we'd read Salah in the Jummah, and then he would, after the Salah was finished, he'd like look over at me and be like, bro, listen, he'd drop a hadith, he said, but he'd say like, we're told when you go into sujood, don't go into sujood like how this animal goes into sujood, which basically means make sure you keep your elbows up. And like he would teach me as I'm like when you're in them early stages, and I've always remembered that itikaf and how that brother was. And I remember when I met Abu Bakr after, I would often ask him like, do you still know that brother Belal? Is that brother Belal? He was like, Belal. He's like, I know too many Belals. But the first itikaf is powerful, man. The first itikaf is very, very powerful.
That's powerful.
Now you're in isolation. I know that you mentioned that you was you're finding yourself in the kitchen, and you can see that on your stories. Other thing that you can see on your stories is you're doing your best to make sure that you're staying fit. How's that going, man? 11 a.m. every day. You're doing some powerful workouts.
Yeah. Boy that I grew up with he's been doing this thing called quarantine shred every day at 11 a.m. And I just feel like, do you know what it is? It's like the way we can benefit, it's like finding that inner peace is not just about like the mind. It's like, it's a whole thing. It's the whole body. Like, we got to balance our goals in it. So we got to have some financial goals, but we have mental goals, spiritual goals, physical goals, family goals. Like, you have to balance out all your goals. So this is a part of it. So I got in there for the mind. And it's amazing, bro. Like, I've never worked out 22 days straight in a row before in my life. Like, every single day. I've done like 4 days a week, 3 days a week, but I've been doing it every single day. And you feel better. Like, you feel better. Your body feels better. Your mind feels better. Like, everything feels better. So I definitely recommend that. And cooking has been fun as well.
And how's things going with the plans for the movie? Because around this time, and in fact exactly at this time, you're meant to be in Egypt right now.
Filming, we're meant to be filming now. We're meant to be filming now, and we just have to like trust Allah's wisdom and accept all His decisions and everything that happens, because it's like, it's disappointing or unfortunate that we're not there filming and everything was meant to be done and it was all go, and then something happens. But, everything you just got to say, alhamdulillah, don't be in despair, trust Allah's wisdom, accept all His decisions, and I say, listen, alhamdulillah, what's meant to be is what will be. And that's the kind of mentality I've got. But being in this isolation with regards to the film business and everything, and having that film and putting it out there, I do feel like, and I've said this before, like even more like frustrated, if anything, that we haven't invested in these things enough or before. Media. Like, look now, like Netflix is probably reaching an all-time high of people viewing it, and Amazon and all these things, and how much content is on there that is good for people of faith to watch, like young Muslims. Do you understand? Like, how much content is out there for young Muslims to watch? Like, it's very frustrating that we haven't Like these industries, like we haven't got anything out there. Like we're just, I don't understand. Like we ain't putting, like, so now people are in their houses. It's like, even with regards to the talks and the videos and everything, a lot of people hit me up and they're like, like now they're at home and they're like, it's a time to reflect and to be in thought. It's like, I want to do better. Where should I go? What should I do? They don't know where to go. They don't know where to look. They don't know what to watch. And it's hard to find good content. It's like, because a lot of our, and it's
I was having that conversation with the brother, you know, Kamal Saleh from Australia. I was having that conversation with him on a podcast just about 2 or 3 episodes ago, because I said that when I was starting to get consume Islamic media, they were the only guys who talk Islam and One Path Network. I said they're the only guys who they're using red cameras to film their YouTube videos, bro. And I'm thinking like, wow, we need something like this on this side.
That should be standard.
Yeah,
that should be standard.
It's so attractive to see.
Bro, do you know what we're competing with? Everyone wants to complain about the youngsters, like these people are leading the youngsters astray and they're putting out this and they're putting out that. They're watching this, they're watching that. The youngsters don't find it difficult to find, like, I want to watch a new movie about this. They know Netflix, they know the videos, they know YouTube. That whole industry has put in work and graft, and that's why the youngsters are all running towards it, and it's easily like consumed. But our industry, they don't know where to find. Believe me, there's youngsters that want to do better. I get so much messages, bro, I want to do better. I don't know what to do though. How can he not know what to do or where to go? Doesn't know what to watch, doesn't know what to do. Like how can we not know? If a man says I want to do bad, he knows exactly where to go, what to do. He knows, like, they're easy to navigate around these things. But for the good, it's like he doesn't know. Like, we ain't got, there's nothing. Someone hits me up, that brother hits me up, anyone watching, that brother that hits me up and he's like, yeah, I want to, where do I send him? What video? What videos? What stuff? So I say, yeah, watch this. That's not too, like, hard hitting in a sense where he won't understand it.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because we've got to, in everything you learn, there has to be stages. Like there's nursery, primary, secondary school, college, university. Like we can't just send people straight. You can't take someone from nursery and put them in a university class. They won't get it and they won't understand what's going on. They won't understand the language. So we need the beginners level. Where is everything? I don't know where everything is. And I feel like we have spent a lot of time focusing on just like, I don't know what we're focusing on, but I definitely know this is one industry that ain't been utilized like at all. And it I think is sad. Like we've got a lot of TV channels, we've got a lot of funds, we've got a lot of organizations, but we've got no content. Like where's the content? Like where is the content? Like I've been approached by 1 or 2 companies to like make a short film or this, that, and the money is so minute and small. It can never compete with the mainstream media and the real content that's out there that the youth and the youngsters are running towards. It can never compete. Like we need to
I agree.
Look,
you spoke about this on the first ever episode. I think that you were on.
Sure.
Yeah, sorry, I think that we just got a bit out of sync there. So I caught like the last 10 seconds of what you said in like ×3 speed. What I was saying is that you mentioned this in the first episode that we did of Freshly Grounded. I think it was like episode 2 or 3 of Freshly Grounded. You came on and you discussed this exact thing. And it is a shame, man, that those things don't exist. Those things aren't funded. At the same time, I do feel like once you become in the zone of trying to do things in the kind of Islamic kind of realm, you can get caught in this bubble where you forget what you were like and what would have attracted you back then, and you start thinking in the headspace that you're thinking in now. So you're like, and then the problem is that there's a disconnect between the youth and then the people who are trying to be in the Islamic realm because they've forgotten what it is they've been attracted to. So a lot of people are creating the content that you're talking about, but it doesn't relate in any way to it's not interesting, it's not fun, and it's not it's actually a bit patronizing if you think that this is what we would respectfully watch. Somewhat, right? But I think that's not, I feel like it's part of the journey. Like you do get, like Like sometimes my brother will speak to me and I'm telling him about an idea like within Freshly Grounded that I'm trying to do something, and he's like, bro, why are you thinking so small? And I have this argument with him, and I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right, but this is what I feel like, and he's like, but bro, you never would think that small before, and I'm scared that because you're going so deep into that realm, you're forgetting what you are capable of. But then I can't combat him and say you're kind of right, but in another way, this is what I'm now this is what I'm comfortable with. I don't even know if I feel comfortable in that, and it's like a disconnect that even I'm having. Like I want to be able to create something that's like accessible to everyone, but then I feel like, but maybe that's not me anymore. Maybe I am just going to create content for like a different space now. It's confusing, man. It's not easy. It's like you feel lost in both parts. Like the people who want to watch the content feel lost because they don't have anything, but then the people who want to create the content feel lost because they're now in the new bubble, and what they feel like is something that's great is not.
Yeah, I think the way to look at it is this: like, there's a lot of the time people are just focusing on the 2%, like that 2%, like of the young Muslim who's still doing this and he should be doing that and da-da-da. But like, there's a whole world out there, and this faith wasn't just for like one set of people. It was for mankind, the whole of mankind. So I think we need content that can resonate and be delivered to the whole of mankind. Like if I speak, I like to speak in a way that anyone can listen to me speak and take something from it. Like anyone, like it's universal. It's the language, everything. It's not for 2% or this 1% of like, this is for the whole of mankind. And this is probably what your brother means when, why are you thinking so small? It's like, we got to think big. It's like, I mentioned this show where like they said Muslims like us, and so many Muslims went into a house, like 8 Muslims go into a house. And the first Muslim that goes in the house was like a blogger, female. She was dressed in a certain way, which like some of the guys was like turning their heads away, like, wow, look how she's dressed. Like the second Muslim that went in the house was a guitarist, came with his guitar, like, yeah, who likes music?
I remember I got approached for that show.
Yeah, see, so the third one was like, who wants some shisha? He brings his pipe with him, and it's like the guy that was one of the guys that was watching it with me was like, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at these people. And then the next person was like, I'm Muslim and I'm gay. And he was like, oh, look at this, always on mainstream media showing us in a bad way. And the next Muslim that goes on, I can't remember, but one of them was like, yeah, I follow the Qur'an and the Sunnah, like blah, blah, blah. And then I remember the guy said, I can't watch this. And I said, what's the matter? Tell me what's wrong. And he said, this is a bad representation of us, and the media always wants to show us in a bad way. And I thought 2 things from this. I said, we're always complaining about the way the media portrays us, but we never want to create media that portrays us in the right way. And the second thing I thought was, I actually think this is a very accurate representation of us. This is a very accurate representation, because you're in that bubble of that 1%. You think that's a bad representation because you're only seeing your house, the masjid, your house, the masjid, the brothers in the market, your house, but reality, there's a big world out there, bro. And if you looked at the Muslims in totality, that's how we are. Like 1 out of 10 is actually a very like reasonable amount, that 1 out of 10 is actually practicing in that way. There's a big world out there. And the thing is, a lot of our content and our videos only are for that 1%. And we've forgot about that other 8-9%. And how are they ever going to get better? Or how are they going to ever like progress if we're not creating content for them that they can? Do you understand what I mean? So
I agree completely.
We need to like start thinking it's not for everyone, but there needs to be more that reaches out to everyone.
The problem with the internet though is that even though your content could be perfect for a specific audience, the whole of the internet can see it and does see it, and therefore that's why you're never gonna win, because you might create something that's perfect for a certain audience, but then there's an audience above that audience, below that audience, next to it, that it's not perfect for that audience, but then they see it because it's internet. You can't restrict. That's why there was a really, really, really powerful episode of it's the only episode of Chucky's podcast that I've seen, but he had Jamie on there, and Jamie, he said, because he was like the biggest person on social media, like from London, like at one point, like the most influential, and then he just went dark, bro, like completely didn't for years stop using Instagram. And he said, I came to the realization, Chucky said, why did you leave social media? And Jamie said, I came to the realization that he goes, social media is like one big room, and he goes, you can create content and it might be for a specific type of person, but everyone in that room sees it. And he said that no one should be allowed to say something and everybody hears it. This shouldn't be allowed. That should never be. The human being is not created like to be able to just see and hear everything. Do you know what I mean? Was his point. And so he said that if I have the option to just leave that room, I just realized that leaving that room is so much better. And it's like, wow, Jamie, to say that was so confusing, because I remember
powerful.
Like he was so like just like them times when, you know, now it's like everyone has 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 followers. Like then times it wasn't like that. Everyone had like 100 followers, 200 followers, who's your friends and family. But Jamie had 160,000 followers. And he wasn't really speaking. He wasn't really tweeting and Instagramming and stuff about music. It was just like he was really into his technology and stuff. So he'd tweet about like how to fix iPhones and stuff like that. And it was insane that someone who was so influential on social media has now said, I don't want to be in the room anymore.
And you know what? I think that's powerful as well. Because I think that social media, I've always said it, is very dangerous. The internet is very dangerous. Because it's like me, for example, I've watched the internet create me in a way which is almost like not the way I created me. Do you understand? It's like the internet can create you. Like the internet, like they will upload videos of me on YouTube, the way it's edited, post little clips and snippets from me, when really and truly, if you know me and you go on my page, you just know that guy there just talks about his life and who he is. Like, do you understand? He's a very open, honest, open book. But if you go on the internet and see the way it's like, that guy's like some sheikh, he's like some scholar, he's this, do you understand? And it's like, he's a role model, he's a this and that, and it's like, the internet chooses what they want to do. Like, it's very powerful, and it can mess with your ego.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of people, like, because of that what people say about them, you're so inspirational, you're such a role model, I love you. You see how it changes them, where they actually start feeling special, like, and they start feeling like they've got this expectation, like they're in this entitlement, like they like everything should be like. Companies, for example, send them stuff for free, so they feel like they're entitled to everything for free. Like, why should I buy it? Like, do you know what people do? They send me stuff for free. I'm this, I'm that. And then it's a very dangerous line where sometimes you just got to say, listen, I don't want that. Like, who am I? Like, especially in the eye, as a man of faith, like in the eyes of God, who am I? In the eyes of Allah, like, am I special? I ain't nothing special. So sometimes you just need to like come back down, and like Jamie said, even like just leave the room and just remember who you are. You're nothing. Like, we are nothing. And you see it online, like people get proud, they get into arguments, and they act like, yeah, I'm the big one and you're the that, and like they battle with each other and something. Like, sometimes you gotta say, listen, who am I to be like pulling people up and putting people down and acting like you're this and you're that, like in this righteous place? We're nothing. Like, this is the truth. We're actually nothing. Like, we're actually nothing, and we should really be sad when we see each other and just be saying, do you know what,
I'm something.
We're all just sad, we're all just nothing, and we all need to help each other do better and be better. Like, that's one thing the internet can do, is it can just boost your ego way too much. When you start feeling dangerously, when you start thinking you're special. No one's in a position where, like, I'm the savior, I'm here to, like, call people out and tell people where they're going wrong. Like, where are you going wrong? Like, do you understand? Like, it's like the internet is a very dangerous place. Very, very dangerous place, bro.
You know, before we finish up, because I'm conscious of your time. It just reminded me of, I can't remember where I think it was. We did an episode with Tim Humble like 3-4 episodes ago, and he said this thing, and he said that, was it in an episode with Tim Humble or was it one of his lectures? I can't remember. But anyway, he said that he was talking about how, you know, this exact thing that you're talking about, how the internet gives us this level of ego and stuff. And he was saying about how Umar ibn Khattab was obviously promised Jannah, right? He was told by the Prophet Salallahu Alaihi Wasallam that he's going to be in Jannah, and he would be, even some of the things that was waiting for him in Jannah were told to him, and then the secret keeper, I believe it was Hudayfa, the secret keeper of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He was the only person who knew the list of the people who was the munafiqun or the munafiqeen. I'm not sure which one is the correct way of saying it, but the hypocrites, the people who are not even Muslim, the ones who pretend they're Muslim. He had the list of the people's names, and Umar, who was told that he is going to Jannah, went to Hudayfa and said, look, just tell me, you have to tell me one thing, is my name on that list? And he said that's how they thought of themselves. Like, he's told, guaranteed, like, to say that he did it, like, that's how he think of himself. This is it. And when these men are king, like the Khalif, and it's like, where is he? That's him over there. Where? This is your ruler, this is your king. This is your ruler, this is your king. Sitting by a tree. On his own. Where's his palace? Where's his throne? Where's his security? Cleaning the blind woman's house at night time. No, we don't have that. But look at us today. Like, today, man gets a little following online, and it's like, so man's calling that, like, we're pointing out other people's sins. Like, brother, you need to stop this. You need to fix up, bro. We all need, like, you see the entitlement, like the proudness, and you see me, it's like, I don't think I've got the right to try and speak down to anybody. You've never seen, I ain't got the right. Who am I to be speaking down to another person, belittling another person, looking down on another person? Like, I'm trying to be in a way where I want Allah to be with me. So if I see someone doing something wrong, I'm going to show a bit of mercy and a bit of compassion and say, do you need any help? Because that's what I want. I need man to show mercy. I need Allah to show mercy to me, compassion, and help me. You see me, and I'm not attacking no one who's done whatever. Everyone's got their own way of doing things. But you see me, at the same time, I just think, but man needs to help him. Man needs to help her. Like, obviously something's wrong. Do you understand? How can we help? Not how can we destroy, how can we help? Because I know when I'm low and I'm ruined, man better come and help me. Do you understand? Help. Don't try and ruin, like, you see, let's finish him off. Like, you know, like in wrestling, he's down. Let's go from the top ropes. Bam, finish him off now. Now he's not coming up. Pin him, 1, 2, 3, dead. It's like, that's what we want to do. Like, finish each other off. Like, help. And my thing is this, like, we have to want good in the world, and we have to try and enforce good in the world. But at the same time, we have to lose the ego. Like, no one's special. Only by Allah's mercy. Only by Allah's mercy are we going to get paradise. So it's not our deeds. It's not our deeds. Like, it's not the greatness of us. Like, we're good. We're all mash up. That's the way I see it. None of us are good enough. None of us are good enough, bro. This is the truth. I ain't good enough. No one's good enough. Like, no one stop acting like you're good enough or this one's good enough. We've all got shortcomings. None of us are good enough. The same person you're looking at saying, right, you also have issues and shortcomings. None of us are good enough. So how are we going to lift each other up? Stop thinking about how can we lift each other up? And it's all of this. It's like, we're so busy. Man will make plans. Like, we're so busy. Listen, isolation is a beautiful thing because it can just make us go back
go back to the basics. The basics. One beautiful thing about South London 2002, 3, 4, when a lot of us young brothers from the street was converting and taking our shahada, it taught us something we didn't know, like a brotherhood, a unity, and it was love. It was teaching us how to eat.
Did you grow up around Ismail, Ustad Ismail?
Nah.
Because he's around the same area as you, around the same age as well, right? You know Ismail, who I just did the episode with?
Yeah. That's my brother still, but nah, so he might have known me. He might be a little bit... but I've known Ismail for years.
Okay.
For years. That's my brother. I've known him for years. He used to see him in Lewisham, Masjid. Like I watched him grow. I watched him grow, and it's like, what like, you see that, but you see what it is when you see brothers like Ismail, and you hear the way they speak. You hear the love and the peace.
Yeah, the peace.
They say you can always tell how much knowledge someone really has by their character. The character speaks volumes. And you see that they just want to spread love wherever they go. And they don't act like they are on a pedestal. And that's what makes me proud of, like, so happy when I see that brother speak. And I heard him speaking about certain issues, and he's still talking about Alhamdulillah, you know, whatever Allah wills, bro. And this is what we have to have, this humility, and just go back to our essence. And the way our brotherhood was then, it's like it was a togetherness, and we all was trying to lift each other up, and we were coming as street boys that used to go out to do badness. And what Islam done to us then, such a beautiful thing, and we come such a long way. Even Abu Bakr, I see him in Gambia, and he's doing stuff with orphans. And for me, I can remember what you was doing, how I used to see you 20 years ago. And it makes me smile. And I think of Musa, Salam, and I see he's doing reso and giving trainers to homeless people. And I look at him, and I remember seeing him and thinking what you was doing 20 years ago. And the same with Ismail, and the same with so many brothers. And it's like, do you know what? This is a beautiful thing, and let's keep it beautiful. Let's not ruin it. Like let's not destroy the image of it. You know what I mean? It's like I went on a live with some in a non-Muslim group, and sometimes it's like I should never have to be scared of what the Muslims are gonna come and say. The Muslims are people of beauty and peace. Do you understand? But sometimes it's like when I've got a mixed audience of Muslims and non-Muslims, I'm more fearful of what the Muslims are going to be saying than what the non-Muslims are going to be saying. Whoa. And this ain't right. No. Because this is not right. We're meant to be the people of peace and love and beauty. I'm meant to be saying to the non-Muslims, look at how my Muslims conversate. Look at their comments. Look at the beauty. That's dawah. Instead, I've got the non-Muslims saying to me, wow, I'm scared to comment on your page, bro. I'm scared to even write something, because it's like your Muslim followers just go ham. Like, once I got a non-Muslim said something on my page, like about Mecca. The guy's like known, had #1s in the charts, got a blue tick, like he's a big platinum selling artist. He said something about Mecca, that looks peaceful, I'd love to go there. All the Muslims start telling him he can't go because he ain't a Muslim. He has to take his shahada first. It's not for kafirs. And I'm saying, rah. Till where a man wants to delete his comment. I was giving someone so much dawah. Sorry. And they became a Muslim. They were a new Muslim, like, and it's like they loved it. And then I got a message saying, I don't know if this is for me. And they said they keep getting DMs from other Muslims telling them what they're doing wrong. Like, you're not meant to have a dog in your house. Why have you got a dog? It's haram. You're not meant to this. You're not meant to that. And they said there's so much that they're just starting to think maybe this ain't for me. And I'm saying, like, and they don't understand the situation. Like, this is someone who's converted. Maybe they're living in their family home. The family's got dogs. The family's not going to start saying, okay, sometimes the family ain't even going to let you be a Muslim in the house, let alone say, oh, for your benefit, we're going to get rid of the dog. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Do you understand? Everyone's circumstance. But it was like, I said, nah, don't worry about that. Just ignore the message. People are always going to say. I said, yeah, but it's too much. Like, literally every day I'm doing something wrong. I'm doing something wrong every day. I can't take this. Like, and I was just like, phew. And sometimes, yeah, but like, I just feel like
well,
we're
that's
so
when
distracted.
it comes back to. That's when it comes back to the fact that this internet is this big room that unfortunately everyone sees everything. But you see how the Prophet Salallahu Alaihi Wasallam would give different advices to different people. Like the old man would walk in the masjid and he would say, "Does this break my fast? Like, am I allowed to? I can't remember the hadith here, but something like about am I allowed to, kiss my wife?" I think it was. I'm gonna have to check it because I don't want to say that I don't want to say it wrong. But I'll say it like a story that like the in general that a person is allowed to do something, and another person, like a young person, would ask the same question, but they'll get given a different advice. But it's like why is there two different things? It's because the situation for the young person is different. You're young. You got the energy. Like if you kiss your wife, you might start getting like active, but with the old man there's no fear of that, and then so he won't break his fast. So the point is that imagine though in a situation where there was social media them days, and then there was a ruling for a person. It's like but like and then everyone would attack, bro, and it's just too. But and that's the problem with the internet, man. I agree completely. Listen, Belal, I do you know what, bro? We've done so many episodes of you. We've done episodes in Gambia together. We've done episodes. You were on one of the first ever episodes of Freshly Grounded. But honestly, the one where I was gonna predict it to be like the least like effective because we're having to do it over technology and stuff has honestly been my favorite, because you've shared stories with us that over the 6 years of me knowing you I've never known, and some of the stuff that you were saying goosebumps, man. So I really appreciate you giving us your time like always, man, and I appreciate you extending that, because I told you I'd only take half an hour of your time and I've taken about an hour or more.
Bro. It's just a conversation with you. I just want to say, like, it's a pleasure. It's just a conversation for me. Like, I don't feel like I'm not going to be on the podcast, like, giving people advice and telling people what they need to do and what they don't. I'm not qualified for none of that, bro. I'm just a normal brother from the ends. And it's just a normal conversation with me, bro. I can't put on my uniform and start saying, right, guys, this is what we need to do and you need to do this and do that. We're learning as we go along, bro, and we just need Allah's assistance. We need His help. We need His mercy, and we need His forgiveness, and we need to stick together, and we need to get through this, and we all need to, like, we all want to be raised together. Do you get me? Yeah. So I'm just here as your brother, bro. We're just open conversation. Pleasure.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
All right, guys, take care. Enjoy.
All right, then.